Fight fans, buckle up because the UFC 319 main event has turned into pure chaos, and it all started with a microphone that Khamzat Chimaev didn't even realize was on. He thought he was speaking privately, but the entire world heard him send a chilling warning to Dricus Du Plessis.
Oh, he's dead tomorrow.
You've got 2 days to hold that belt. Just 2 days. Combine that with a violent shove at the weigh-ins, Dana White physically trying to hold things back, and Joe Rogan questioning whether Chimaev can really go 5 hard rounds. This is shaping up to be one of the wildest title fights in UFC history. Before we dive deep into this drama, let me know what you think in the comments. Can Chimaev's gas tank carry him, or will Du Plessis drag him into deep waters? And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the biggest stories behind the fights. Let's start with the moment that blew up the internet. At UFC 319 ceremonial weigh-ins, Chimaev thought he was whispering off camera, maybe venting to his corner, but the mic was hot. And in that raw, unfiltered moment, he looked Du Plessis in the eye and told him, "You've got 2 days to hold that belt, just 2 days." Fans who caught it on stream felt chills not just because of the words, but because of the cold certainty in his voice. No hype, no theatrics, just a man delivering a death sentence with zero hesitation. This wasn't the typical trash talk you hear in MMA. It wasn't about promotion or hype. It was stripped down, chillingly honest. Think about it. How often do we get a glimpse of the fighter behind the fighter? The guy who isn't speaking to cameras but to himself and his rival. That's what makes this moment so terrifying. It wasn't for us, it wasn't for social media, it was Khamzat Chimaev unmasked, and it set the tone for a main event dripping with danger. If the hot mic wasn't enough, what happened next turned UFC 319 into a powder keg. During the final face-off, Chimaev and Du Plessis came nose to nose, and you could practically feel the air crackle with hostility. Then, without hesitation, Chimaev shoved Du Plessis so hard he stumbled backward into the barrier. Security rushed in, Dana White himself stepped between them, and suddenly, the press conference floor looked more like a street fight about to erupt. Fans went wild online, replaying the clip over and over, dissecting body language and reading into Du Plessis' reaction. Did he look shaken? Did he smirk back? For years, we've seen weigh-in shoves, but this one felt different. It wasn't promotional. It wasn't controlled. This was the wolf in Chimaev, breaking loose. He wasn't posturing, he was warning. The narrative shifted instantly. This wasn't just another title defense for Du Plessis, it became a survival test against a man who doesn't believe in slow starts, who doesn't care about pacing, who just wants violence from the opening bell.
Oh man, that's how easy it is to get under that guy's skin. Man, he reacted like that because he saw a real man in front of him, a real middleweight, and he's gonna feel it tomorrow night. Just happy to be here and fight time.
Be honest with me, how do you beat Khamzat Chimaev?
Man, I've got plot armor.
You've got plot armor?
Bro, how do you prepare for me? I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
You don't know what you're going to do in the octagon.
It could be DDP by accident, DDP by falling piano. Maybe I draw a hole in the middle of the octagon, he falls through it.
A hole in the middle?
Absolutely. Maybe I blow up my thumb, hit him with it. I can win by a car crash. I'm a really large hammer. That will be there, that would be in the corner. Another DDP might just come into the octagon.
Yeah, that could happen.
Everybody says on paper, Khamzat beats me. How do I know? I can't even read.
You can't read?
Nah. But at the end of the day, my friend, it's DDP by whatever words.
But let's not paint Du Plessis as the hunted man running scared. In fact, the champ doubled down and dared Chimaev to come at him with that all-out sprint. In his own words, "Let's go full speed and see who quits." That wasn't bravado. That was calculated warfare. Du Plessis knows the storyline around Chimaev. He overwhelms, he drowns, he smashes. But he also knows the one crack people point to, the gas tank. Can Chimaev keep up the madness for 5 full rounds?
Africa's never gonna see the belt again.
Nobody heard what he just said. Not a single person here heard what this man just said.
Du Plessis, built on grit and tested in long battles, believes that if he can weather the storm in round 1, the tide turns. His confidence isn't just psychological warfare, it's tactical. He's daring Chimaev to empty the clip, because he's betting that by the championship rounds, the predator becomes prey. Fans love this clash of styles, sprint versus marathon, chaos versus control. It's more than a title fight, it's a test of philosophy inside the cage. And Du Plessis isn't just willing to take the test, he's daring Chimaev to administer it. And this brings us to the voice of the MMA world, Joe Rogan. On his podcast, Rogan posed the question everyone's been afraid to ask out loud. Can Chimaev really sprint for 5 rounds?
Have the confidence to go for it and possibly empty the gas tank and get the finish. And if he doesn't, how fucked is he?
He has no other way. I don't think I think take down and smash. That's what he wants. Right. That's what he makes no, you know.
Yeah, you can't adjust
he's not disguising it.
Yeah, you can't adjust now in the world championship fight. You got to just hit the gas.
Yeah, I think instinct's going to kick in, and he is a sprinter.
It wasn't just a casual musing. Rogan broke it down the way only he can. Chimaev is a sprinter by instinct, a man who thrives in chaos. But instincts can betray you in a championship fight. If he burns out, if Du Plessis can swim in deep water, then suddenly the monster everyone fears looks human. Rogan went further, saying that in a world title fight, you can't reinvent yourself. You don't suddenly become a marathon runner, you lean into who you are. And that's why Rogan believes Chimaev will floor the gas pedal from the start, because that's who he is. The big question isn't whether he'll sprint, it's whether Du Plessis can survive long enough to turn that sprint into a liability. That tension sprint versus survival is what makes UFC 319 so unpredictable, and why fans can't stop talking about it. When we zoom out, the contrast between these two men is stark. Chimaev has built his aura on overwhelming fighters, dragging them into hell with suffocating wrestling, brutal ground and pound, and unrelenting pace. He's a firestorm. But Du Plessis? He's the hurricane that keeps coming, round after round. Remember, his nickname isn't just for show. He's proven his durability, surviving wars, and emerging stronger in the later rounds. Analysts like Dustin Poirier point out that Du Plessis hasn't really been tested by a wrestler of Chimaev's caliber, but they also highlight that Chimaev hasn't faced someone with Du Plessis' resilience. It's a clash of unknowns. What happens if Chimaev doesn't get the finish in round 1? What happens if Du Plessis gets dragged down but climbs back up, smiling, still pressing forward? That's the nightmare scenario for Chimaev, and the dream scenario for Du Plessis. 2 different gas tanks, 2 different philosophies, 1 collision that will decide the fate of the middleweight division. The mic incident wasn't just about the warning. There was another layer fans picked up on. Speaking in Chechen, Chimaev admitted he was sick of the media, tired of the spotlight, drained from endless interviews. It was a rare crack in the armor, a moment of humanity from a man usually portrayed as unstoppable. But here's the twist. Instead of looking exhausted, Fight Week footage showed him sharp, shredded, and smiling once the cameras went live. This paradox makes Chimaev even scarier. Imagine a man who claims to hate the circus but thrives when the cage door closes. He's not motivated by fame. He's motivated by the fight itself. Du Plessis might see this as an advantage, thinking pressure can break him. But fans saw something different. They saw a man who wants nothing but combat, who will suffer through the nonsense just to get to the violence. That mic moment wasn't weakness, it was honesty. And in MMA, honesty like that is rare and dangerous. For Chimaev, this fight isn't just about gold, it's about making history as the first Chechen UFC champion.
Africa never gonna see the belt again.
Nobody heard what he just said. Not a single person here what this man just said.
That's why he declared, Africa is never going to see the belt again, aiming directly at Du Plessis' proud identity as the African-born champion. That line stirred controversy, but it also revealed what's really at stake. This isn't just a belt, it's a cultural symbol. It's about legacy, national pride, and etching your name into history books. Chimaev sees himself not just as a contender, but as a revolutionary figure. And history tells us fighters chasing legacy often tap into something primal, something deeper than money or fame. Du Plessis, of course, has his own legacy to protect. He sees himself as Africa's king, the man who brought the belt home. Now it's personal. Every punch thrown at UFC 319 carries more than physical weight. It carries history, pride, and the hopes of nations colliding in the octagon. That's why fans worldwide can't look away. What makes Du Plessis such a fascinating opponent is that he's unpredictable. Even his own coaches admit they sometimes don't know how he's going to win. Analysts call it plot armor. He finds ways to shock people, whether by grinding out wars or landing the perfect strike. Against Robert Whittaker, he wasn't supposed to win that way, but he did. Against Chimaev, he's once again the underdog. But that's exactly where he thrives. The mystery around Du Plessis is his greatest weapon. He doesn't follow a script. He adapts in real time, and that unpredictability is the one thing Chimaev can't prepare for. You can train for wrestling. You can train for cardio. But how do you prepare for a man who, by his own admission, doesn't even know how he's going to win? That chaos mirrors Chimaev's chaos, but from the opposite side. And that's why this main event feels less like a fight and more like a collision course with destiny.
You know, the pace he brings from the opening bell, this guy's pedal to the metal, stepping on the gas, trying to finish people. They both have a common opponent, Robert Whittaker, and I think, you know, if you look at the way they both did it, Chimaev was a lot more impressive in the finish. But the style DDP brings, it's a question. It's a mystery. It's fun to watch. Chimaev's built like an aura around him, finishing guys and being this crazy madman that people want to see. And, you know, he's earned his way to the title shot. So to me, it's kind of a coin toss. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
While all eyes are on Chimaev and Du Plessis, UFC 319 has been buzzing with side drama. Bobby Green's heartbreaking withdrawal due to injury had fans emotional, with the fighter himself admitting, "I can't even walk, guys." His Raw apology video reminded fans of the sacrifices fighters make. Then came the whirlwind of Conor McGregor rumors, with social media exploding over claims he was off the roster. Dana White shut it down instantly, calling it total nonsense, while Ariel Helwani confirmed Conor is still UFC property. These distractions actually add to the tension around UFC 319. The event feels cursed, chaotic, unpredictable, perfectly mirroring the madness of its main event. For fans, it's not just about who wins the belt. It's about surviving the storm of drama, injuries, rumors, and controversy that have made UFC 319 one of the most talked about cards in recent memory. So here we are, fight fans. After the hot mics, the violent shove, the legacy talk, the cardio debates, and all the chaos swirling around UFC 319, we're left with one burning question. Who survives the madness? Chimaev is the storm, the wolf who smells blood. Du Plessis is the survivor, the man with plot armor who finds ways to win when nobody believes he can. On paper, Chimaev's wrestling looks like the X Factor. On paper, Du Plessis' cardio looks like the equalizer. But fights aren't won on paper. They're won in the fire, in those moments when instinct takes over and willpower decides the outcome. Maybe Chimaev bulldozes his way to history. Maybe Du Plessis shocks the world again. That's the beauty of MMA, the unpredictability, the chaos, the drama that no scriptwriter could ever craft. UFC 319 isn't just a fight, it's a question mark painted in blood, sweat, and destiny. And tomorrow night, we'll finally have the answer.